It'll be a little later. Wait, what do we do first? Charting or charting? Okay. I got four for you here. It's late. It's very late here on TLM.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Songs of the Year series. That's a big finger. 2008. Decent year, about the same as the years that we've been going through here in the mid-aughts. Shrinking possibilities on the Billboard list, growing possibilities on the wildcard side for me. Pretty good year, but not great. You guys?
I like a lot of the albums in 08, but there weren't a lot of big songs kind of jumping out at me. In fact, I'm not doing a lot of different albums. I am pretty top heavy with stuff, and I thought the billboards were just atrocious.
This is one of my least favorite years for albums. Billboards are fine. They're about a little worse. It gets a little worse every year, but I had 15 songs probably that could easily made my Billboard list. So I actually had a lot more trouble trying to find just wild cards. It's just all going to be for my top 5 albums. There's nothing else for me here.
All right. Well, if you're unfamiliar with this channel or this series, basically what we do here is we each make 2 lists of songs. The first list is our favorite songs from the Billboard Hot 100. Any song that charted during the year is eligible. So we'll pick 5 of those. And then we have a second list of wild cards that could have also charted, but more likely will be deep cuts or B-sides or album tracks from things that didn't make the charts. One of our lists will be one song short because we save our very favorite of the year for the end of the video. And before we reveal our winners, we also make a selection for our least favorite top 40 song of the year. So that's how it goes. I don't remember whose turn it is. Joe's going first.
I got 4 for you because my winner charted this year. I don't know why this one charted. I think it was because of Guitar Hero 3. It was the final track, The Ultimate Test, Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. I can't believe it charted, but it did 2 years after it came out. Just the most ridiculous song in the whole world, but it's just a lot of fun. I couldn't pass up a chance to throw it on there. Number 4, we got Lady Gaga entering the scene. She will be all over my lists. This year, we're going to get Just Dance, kind of trashy Euro disco, almost like parody lyrics. I don't know exactly, but she's talking about like just being completely wasted. Her clothes are on backwards. It's really a bizarre, weird song. Came out of nowhere in 08 and just, changed the pop world completely. Number 3, I'm going to do Violet Hill from Coldplay. Definitely my favorite track off Viva La Vida. Reminds me a little Genesis. It's darker. Some cool guitar on it as well. Number 2 is going to be Head First Slide into Cooperstown on a Bad Bet. And that is Fall Out Boy from Folie à Deux. Just a classic Fall Out Boy song. Giant chorus, plenty of layered vocals. One of my favorites from them, so it's going to make the lists. As I said before, my winner charted, so you have to wait for that one.
I got one in common with Joe. We'll get to that in a minute. My first pick, though, is Falling Slowly by Glenn Hansard and Marketa Erglova. First appeared on the Final Frames album back in 2006 called The Cost, and then it got a second life in the musical movie Once. I'm not sure how much of the success of that movie and that song had to do with the end of the Frames. I always kind of held it against it because I love the Frames and I was never as into the stuff he did afterwards, but I still think it's a great song. And as far as the charting stuff goes, it's definitely one of the better tracks. So I'm going with that. I've also got I Will Possess Your Heart by Def Cab for Cutie. Really weird single. Super long drum and bass groove intro to the song, slowly adds some piano and guitars, really kind of hypnotizing start to the track. Takes like 4.5 minutes for any vocals to come in, but pretty cool rock tune. I dig it. And then the one that I have in common with Joe is Violet Hill. Immediately hooked me the first time I heard it, really got me excited for Viva La Vida. Still to this day, probably the heaviest Coldplay song. I love the guitar tone on it. It's got that really cool solo as well. And I think the bass playing on it is really great, even though it's not really like doing anything that impressive. It's just like this really straight, tight part. So I dig that. And then also going with Use Somebody by Kings of Leon. This is a point where a lot of people got off the Kings of Leon train, and also the point where a lot of new people got on the Kings of Leon train. I think for a lot of the people in our friend group, I think a lot of people started to lose interest here. But I dug this record. I thought for what it was and being a more commercial, stab at radio play and stuff, I thought it was still really cool. And I played the crap out of it back in 08. And that album is probably still in my top 10 for 08. I don't think it stacks up to their first 3 records or is that good, but I still think it's an enjoyable record. And I think that's a good single. So I'm going with that. And then my last one is Human by the Killers. Possibly my favorite Killers song. I love the synths and the danciness of it. I think the lyrics are really cool. They're kind of, I don't know, they're kind of dumb lyrics, but at the same time, they get right to the heart of the way the song feels. I don't know, something about the lyrics are really interesting to me. I think Day and Age, that record is very underrated. Almost picked Spaceman too, which I think is another cool track. So yeah, I like Day and Age. I think it doesn't get enough credit.
Right. Got a few in common with Ichiya. And I think I also have potentially Joe's winner in my list here somewhere, but we'll see. Let's start with Joe. Joe, I also got Let's Dance. We are the Lady Gaga. We're Goo Goo for Gaga over here. Me and Steigs. And yeah, it's got that really cool, like, I love that synth sound. It almost sounds like it's like a hospital, like heart meter or whatever. It's very cool. Perfectly put. Yeah, trashy, really upbeat, really fun. Yeah, she just had like this really kind of sleek but sleazy kindness to her music, and it really, really works, especially in that song. And then with Jason, I also have Use Somebody. I agree. I like that record a lot. I think the deep cuts on that album are better than a lot of the singles, but yeah, I like this one. I don't really like Sex is on Fire at all, but I do like Use Somebody quite a bit. The drums in it going into the chorus are just so propulsive and awesome. And then it gets into that kind of like little like reggae groove almost in the second verse. Very cool. Then I've also got a little bit of a deep cut here. I've got Honey by Erica Badu. She's made a few appearances for me before. This one is kind of flashy and has some razzle dazzle to it. A lot more hop, a lot less kind of sensual. It's kind of like her big kind of like hot pop song almost. It's very sparkly, but it's got this really cool like 70s guitar and R&B kind of thing going on behind it. Cool pastiche to it. I've also got American Boy by Estelle, which I think is incredibly catchy. I love just the na 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 na. It's very catchy, great melody to it, and the American Boy chorus just gets stuck in your head. And the one I think might be Joe's winner, which is quite honestly my second favorite song of this year. I've got Paper Planes by M.I.A, borrowing and sampling from The Clash, but it's incredibly awesome. Just, it's really tight. The whole, bounce and the gun thing and everything, and everything comes together with just so catchy, so hooky, so much fun. I love it. It's got a lot of heart behind it too, I feel like. So very cool.
All right, let's do our wild cards. This is basically my top 5 list for albums of the year. Number 5, I got I'm Not Going to Teach Your Boyfriend How to Dance with You. Actually, the one not from my albums, but this is it's a Cure ripoff pretty much, but it is just super catchy, fun, great bass. The album it's on, not very good though, unfortunately, because that is a great track. Number 4, I got a little Hold Steady Action. I'm going to go, there's a bunch of I could have gone with. I'm going to go with One for the Cutters. Great murder mystery lyrics, and probably the best use of harpsichord I've heard in decades. Really love the way it sounds, totally unique. Really just comes out of nowhere, considering, the crunchy guitars that dominate the first couple tracks. Number 3, I'm going to go Street of Dreams from Guns N' Roses. They're back, Chinese Democracy. This one is less weird, we'll say, than the rest of the album. It's pretty straightforward, but really great piano on it. Best guitar solo on the album. And Axl sounds pretty decent. A lot of passion in his vocals here. Number 2, I got Evil Urges from My Morning Jacket. Lead off track. Just love the way he sings here. He's doing this falsetto. Sounds like Smokey Robinson. It's fantastic. The reverb turned way down. The 70s-ness turned way up. And I love this album. Very underrated. Number 1, from my runner-up for album of the year, I got Paranoid from Kanye West, from 808s, and Heartbreak. Really just reinvents himself as this tragic, lovelorn character, racked by doubt on this album, which comes right after his giant arena rap, One Graduation, where it just packed with guest stars, big giant synths everywhere. And this one is just him, sparse drum machines, some cool icy synth. Totally cool, different direction. I hated this album when it came out, but I've grown to love it. So Paranoid, my track from it, my favorite wild card of the year.
All right, my first wild card pick, I'm going with Hard Time by Ron Sexsmith. I think Ron Sexsmith has made a few of my lists, maybe 1 or 2, but he has come close a lot more times than that. Like, he's always right on the outskirts. He's just a great songwriter. So many good songs. Just, this is a really beautiful, sad piano ballad, just describing his difficulty after a breakup. His voice is so good, and there's all these great horns coming in, just a little touch of horns to kind of give that little extra flavor to it. I've also got a track from the Hold Steady. I'm going with Lord, I'm Discouraged. I really gravitate towards sad songs, so it's not a surprise that the ballad on the record is one of my favorite tracks. The only thing that can really make a sad melody like this better is having a ripping guitar solo, and Tad Kluber just lets one rip on this track. It's really great. The lyrics are really good too. He's just like worrying about a friend of his that's struggling with addiction. Then I'm going with Ships by Tyler Ramsey. Tyler Ramsey was a guitarist for Band of Horses, but he also puts out excellent solo records. This is a really beautiful acoustic finger-picking track. His voice is just like clear as a bell. It's a great song. That whole record is really good. You've also got like some violin and electric piano that comes in. Just a really good sounding track. Then I'm going with Frankie's Gun by the Felice Brothers. Just amazing Americana folk tune. Really just kind of seems to exist outside of time. Kicks in with this like blaring accordion, kind of like got this Cajun Zydeco feel. Great storytelling, great lyrics. This was put out on one of Conor Oberst's labels called Team Love. And there was an article in Pitchfork. They do that series where they like have someone talk about the different music of eras of their life when they were like 5, 10, 15, 20. And he talks about this record in that article and says that putting this record out was the best contribution he ever made to music. So I think that's saying quite a lot.
All right. Not too familiar with many of those from Jason there, but that's cool. Let's go to my wild cards, starting off with White Winter Hymnal, one of the most popular tracks from Fleet Foxes. It starts with just amazing, beautiful, heavenly, rustic harmonies, and everyone sounds so good. And, about the, scars wrapped around their throats and everything. It's just really cool lyrics and sounds so good. From the same album, I've got Your Protector. And I also, from the same album, have He Doesn't Know Why. Pretty heavy on Fleet Foxes here. They won it for me pretty easily. But before I talk about those two, I'll throw out the other one. I've got Santa Gold with Lights Out, which is a really pretty kind of indie pop tune. It was pretty big when it came out. It was like in a lot of car commercials and soundtracks for like Grey's Anatomy and all kinds of stuff like that. But she's got like that classic indie pop pixie kind of girl, but like a more professional sounding. Like she's not doing like the shy girl thing that like maybe Hope Sandoval would do or something. But it's just very cool, and it goes into that falsetto when she does a very cool. She just nails it. Then the other two songs, You're a Protector, and He Doesn't Know Why. He Doesn't Know Why just has like that awesome, just like immediate like gospel kind of and then it's got that amazing guitar and the little snare drums that kind of work as a marching beat. And Your Protector is like kind of ghostly and heavenly and starts off with just those little flute or woodwind or whatever it is. All those songs are just so like coolly kind of folky, kind of country, but like have this mystical enchantment behind them. Like you're just in some sort of like religious movement in like the mountains of like Tennessee and Kentucky or something. It's such a cool atmosphere to it. And you know, just some of the best aesthetic stuff I think of the 2000s on this album. It just, everything just sounds so damn good. The writing might only be pretty good, but everything just sounds so lush and amazing and just like you're flying around in the sky. I love it. So I will save my winner.
Right. Let's go to worst. This one's an easy one. Kid Rock. All summer long, baby. Takes two great songs and turns them into one shit song. So props to Kid for that. Very impressive. Murdering two classic rock favorites and just turning into just a crummy song. Really weak solo. I mean, the solo is just so bad and pathetic that I hate it. And I hate that song. So hopefully it also makes your list. We'll see.
Yeah, that is also my selection. There were a couple others that were kind of competing. Shout out to the Anthem by Pitbull. I hate Pitbull. I hate his voice. Every time he opens his mouth, it just drives me crazy. I cannot stand him. But the Kid Rock song is still worse. It is just an abomination. So yeah, we've talked about that song a bunch. So
we have, and it's a trifecta. I really flirted with trying to get some other stuff in there. There's some Taylor Swift stuff that is almost just too boring to be like, you know, she has more annoying stuff later. This kind of stuff's boring. And I really almost went with I Kiss a Girl by Katy Perry. I absolutely hate that song. But yeah, come on, this is Kid Rock. This song literally sounds like what a turd looks like. So it's just terrible. And we talked about it in, you know, the worst song of all time tournament. Nothing more needs to be said. Hopefully we'll never have to talk about it again. So that's that.
It's good. Yeah, there's a bunch of good choices. There's like 8 David Cook songs that all could have been, but they're just so boring that I was like, I don't remember any of these. They all charted in a row. It's that stupid American Idol thing. Still going strong in 2008. Let's get to our winners, shall we? Winners. No Paper Planes for me, Cramser. That's a good one. But it didn't really even come up. My winner, I'm going back to my boy Kanye West from 808s and Heartbreak. I got Love Lockdown. Just a really unique, cool piece of music, incredibly sparse. Kanye's singing on this one. No rapping at all on this song. He's doing the auto-tune vocal, which I really didn't like at first because it was just too different. I learned to love it. Just him trying something completely different like that. Really cool little icy piano figure comes in, and then just the biggest tribal drums just on earth just fall into this track and blow it up. It's really cool the way it builds, just the bass, the kick drum, Kanye, a little piano, and it just keeps cycling over until a little coda, and we're just all this cool drums happening all over the place. It's just a really unique song for him. The album totally, it invented basically emo rap, which unfortunately gave us Drake in pretty much all the terrible rappers and songs now. So I don't quite forgive him for it. But what he was doing was so unique and cool, original. So major props to my boy Kanye West for Love Lockdown, my favorite track of 2008.
All right. So my winner is by the band that, as far as our listography series goes, has the fewest views of any that we've done. And it even looks like the Babies are on track to surpass their views pretty quickly. But I love this band. I love this record. And this was my number one song when we did the top 10 songs. I've got Crying by TV on the Radio. Just an amazing slinky groove. It's like 70s disco and funk, but it's also futuristic and unfamiliar. Just a total banger of a track. But at the same time, they're hitting you with like some pretty heavy lyrics about the state of the world, addressing people's apathy and pushing for people to kind of take the power back, essentially encouraging people to kind of crash the whole society and into a wall and rebuild. Just like these aggressive kind of political lyrics while just giving you this dance party. And it's just awesome. I absolutely love it. It sounds so cool. It's really well recorded and just sounds great. So a lot of singer-songwriter, country, folk, Americana type stuff coming from me around this time period, but this song is just something special.
It sure is, but I didn't pick it. I'm going with Oxford, by Vampire Weekend, which was everywhere when this came out. It's got that tremendous groove with the kind of world music, Paul Simon-y kind of thing put into like indie rock and indie pop. Those just little like tubular kind of keyboard hits or bells or whatever the hell they are. I'm not good with instruments. We know this. And then that just simple, drum part behind it. The melody's great, but really the sensational thing about this song is the lyrics. They're so biting and sneering, and it's kind of all about him having like this epiphany of getting over like this super pretentious kind of like chick or whatever. And he's like, who gives a fuck about an Oxford comma? He's like, he just keeps going. It's so just like, it's like this light bulb went out. He's just like remembering all this stupid crap she used to say. Like, why would you lie about all this coal that you have and stuff like that? It's so sneering and like sarcastic, and I love it. And he's does the line where he's like, yeah, take the chapstick, put it on your lips, crack a smile, adjust your lies, like all that stuff. It's so biting and so specific, and it's not really about anything except this feeling. It's awesome. And he's like, I've seen those English dramas too, they're cruel and all that. It's just got so much character behind it. And I slept on this band for so long, but this song is just such an awesome anthem. It's got that cute, clever kind of like little guitar solo in it where you can kind of just feel his self happiness, just getting over this person and just kind of like walking around like a dog with praise. Like, yeah, I'm better off now. It's so freaking awesome. It's got so much character behind it. The sweet little venom. I love it. Oxford, Vampire Weekend.
Sounds like a winner to me. I can't imagine Kanye getting votes on this channel.
I think we got a three-way battle this week. I think all three of those will get votes. I'll probably come in last place, but we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. People are down on Kanye. Last week, real squeaker, heartbreaker for me. I lost by one vote. One goddamn vote. 41-40. People have just completely tuned us out at this point. So I think we should just call the series now with me as the winner. No, just kidding. But that gives me 22, Jason up to 19.5, nipping on the heels. Grams are 14.5, but Straw, I feel like he's going to make a run here in these late aughts, early tens. Some indie bands. We'll see. I don't know.
Coming for you. I'm coming for you. We'll see. I don't know if TV on the radio will get me there, but we'll see. Let us know what you think of our lists. What are your favorite songs of 2008? Drop them down in the comments. Of course, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. And yeah, check the video description. You'll find a link to the website where you can go vote on the song of your choice. You'll also find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, website, merch, Patreon, all of that stuff is there. Check it all out. Thanks for watching.